All right, let's get it going. We're about 30 seconds away from the open. So let's see what happens. Obviously, bias and everything is bullish. We've got our New York high level above over here. We've got a New York low down here. So if we're going to go higher, would like to see price come down first and sweep out some of these lows to go higher. But let's drop down to the 1 here and let's see what happens at the open. All right, there's a move down. Nice little pump fake. Let's see if this persists as we'd like it to. Okay. Always let the first few minutes go, see what it does. I like that it went down first, but I would have liked to see it go down a little bit more than that. But it is Monday, so no need to jump the gun early. We do have a couple of things coming up this week. We got FOMC on Wednesday, which should be interesting. We've got a holiday on Friday, which is Juneteenth, so we won't have our live session on Friday, obviously. So it's a short week, and we have big red news smack in the middle, so might be a less active week this week. But we finished the week last week on a high note, on a good note, so let's see if we can do that again this week. You'll notice that I did switch over to the new contracts because the June contracts are expiring this week. So I've already made the switch. You guys can still continue to trade the June contracts if you want to. Your broker's probably going to give you that notice to do the rollover in the next couple days. I've already just, I've gotten ahead of it, so. Yes, sir, Juneteenth. Okay, so nice little run up to start in the first 5 minutes or so. It's a good pump to the upside. Took out the near high level above here, and we're trading into Let's see. M15 imbalance up here above at 770, so just about 100 points from where we are. Can also take out this high as well. Into that imbalance would be good. If we are going to continue down from there. So I don't like that we, went higher immediately, because that usually means that we'll get a move down. I would have liked to have seen it come down and take out some of these lows here. Then we would have seen probably a more smoother expansion up. Eve, good to see you on the YouTube stream. Good afternoon. And everyone else joining us on YouTube, good morning or good afternoon to you. Just watching the opening candle here. Right, so if we get a closure above the New York high level, above these highs, this consolidation here, okay, we'll assume, that price wants to break out and continue, and then we'll be looking for a retest of the level, right? So either retest of this high that we broke or a retest of the consolidation, coming back into the consolidation, and then if we get some sort of shift or change of character after that, we can look for the continuation up. If it comes back and we don't retest, or if we trade back into the consolidation, right, then we'll look to see if we get a break below to sweep out the lows that I want to sweep out. So a little bit of a wait and see here, but we did get a nice clean breakout of the range here, London to pre-New York. So just see if we can continue to hold it. When we don't take out like Asia or London liquidity, I assume that New York wants to do that, right? So when we get a big breakout like this and a big move up like this in the beginning of the session, I tend to view this more as manipulation rather than strength and momentum. So we'll see what happens after 10 o'clock, right? If this persists after 10, then it's most likely going to be a continuation move. But if we get a big reversal back and we get a change of character, right, then probably going to be looking for price to come back for some of these lows here. Zane, good to see you. Welcome to the stream again. Let's see if we can get something going back into the range here. Obviously, we don't want to chase this, right, as it's going higher like that. We do have clear targets above still, so I do still have, this imbalance here. We still have that swing high we can take out. So definitely want it to go higher if we can. Just going to see if we can get some sort of internal sweep maybe on the 1 minute. As of now, it would be this one here off of this divergence and the imbalance that we traded into. So if we can get a sweep back to 650 and then a move up at 10 o'clock. Or even like to the close at 10, right? So this right now is this is the 945 candle that's going to close bullish. If we get that to close bullish and we get a pullback into the 50% of that candle, let's say the high remains as it is right now. You can see if I go this high to this low, 50% is right here, and that sweep is going to fall right in that 50% range, and that'll be perfect, right? So if we can get something like that going as well, sweep, and then to this level right here, that would be a good setup. And risk reward on that would be, I think, pretty good as well. If we stay underneath the divergence lows here, we're looking at about a 50 or 60 point stop. and then running to the high there will give us about a 2-to-1 if we can get all the way up to the imbalance. But we can get out much earlier than that if we take out the high. Can we do it? That's a psych level as well, right? 350, so, or 650 rather, sorry. So we can get it to bounce off the psych level, be perfect. So one is we want it to hit the psych level, right? Respect it after the sweep. We've got a bearish change of character coming in. So we don't want to just take it, obviously. We want to see it respect the level, hit it, respect it, and then get a close back above it, right? Oh, that came so close. 651 came down to 651. All right, that's good. Leaving it there. I mean, it's like right there, but we did sweep out this level here, so if we just go up from there, then that'll be unfortunate. Ah, look at that. All right, now we got a bullish change of character coming up here. That's good. And then we can play off of that if this remains bullish and we don't get the sweep. So let's see. Oh man, 1 tick. 1 point rather. All right, so at this point, we'll see if we get the change of character above here. This is kind of too high in the range to take, so I don't want to take it a setup when it's like careening up like that. It's more likely going to pull back since we're so close to this level here. What's that sweep? Let me see. That level is, it's right here. This is, I think we already took it, 728.25. Where do we go up to here? 731, yeah, so we did sweep that high already. See if we get back to the 650 level off of that sweep. There's the divergence there. So normally if we play a continuation, we could play off of the change of character bounce, right? So like coming back into that level there was potentially an entry and then putting your stop underneath that low down here. But because our target is only right here, it's a little bit less than a 1-to-1, so it's not really ideal. Plus we're really high up in the range. So I don't really want to play that move. I would rather see price come down a little bit further and take out something a little bit lower. Dubai Unfiltered, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. You don't trade Forex anymore. I do not. I switched to futures about 2 years ago, 2024, I believe, from Forex. And so now I only trade futures. Nothing against FX, it's just futures is a lot more pros than cons, and also futures prop firms are very lucrative. So stable, I guess you could say stable. A lot less broker manipulation. No spreads, right? No wild spreads. Everything is regulated through the CME, so you know you're getting the same price that everyone else is getting. Like other brokers can't, other liquidity providers can't, you know, put in different prices and screw up with your chart. So I mean, there's so many pros to trading futures versus versus FX. Although it's still, I mean, there's still people that do pretty well with FX, so I'm not saying that you should do one or the other. You should just trade whatever you're comfortable with, of course. But I switched to futures mainly for all of those benefits, and it's been a very good decision. Right, FX, yeah, but like I said, you don't need 500 to 1 leverage. Like, what are you going to use that for? You're going to use it to blow your account, is what you're going to do. But yeah, you got leverage, and but even like you know, futures props, you're leveraging more than you would if you traded your own personal account, and you're risking a lot less, right? And plus, CFD props versus futures props, the price difference is like, it's huge. Like, you pay $500 for a CFD prop firm, you'll pay 50 or 100 for a futures prop firm. So the price is like a huge discount. So you're risking a lot less. Oh, look at that. Nice. That worked out. Would you advise someone to switch also? I mean, that's based off of your personal preference. I would say, you know, if I had to lean towards a direction, yeah, I would definitely say, you know, at least look into it and see if you want to make the switch. There's just so many more benefits to trading futures than there's FX. And did I switch my initial strategy? If you mean BTMM, I haven't traded BTMM since 2019. So it's been like 7 years since I've traded that. And a lot of you guys know me through my BTMM videos, which is probably why you guys still think I trade that. Still watch my BTMM videos and still think I trade that. But I haven't traded that in a very long time. So what you're seeing me trade now is the way I've been trading for the last, you know, 6 years. But like I said, if it's working for you and you've been trading it, right? It doesn't mean that because I switched my style, it doesn't mean that you should do it too, right? Obviously, there's a lot that goes into switching a strategy, and a lot of people do that on a whim without really giving it enough data to, you know, prove to themselves that they should switch, right? Because they'll trade it for a week or 2 weeks, things aren't going to go the way they want to, right? They're not getting winners every day, or whatever the case may be, or maybe you're just getting to too many losses and you feel like, you know, the strategy isn't working. But that's not enough time really for a strategy. For a strategy to really, you know, show you if it's profitable or not, you really need to be trading it, you know, several months, several years even. I mean, really, but you really need, like, you know, several hundred trades in your data to show you that this strategy is either working or not working for you, right? And a strategy may work for you and it may not work for someone else, and vice versa. But that is where the testing comes in. Like, you have to battle test it, right? Everyone's experience and situations and trading personalities are different. Some people are suited for scalping, some people are suited for swing trading, right? It really depends on the person and their situation. So if you don't have, you know, real data backing your strategy, telling you that you should be switching or staying, then there's your issue, right? Because most people just don't have it. They just don't put in the time, you know, enough time into a strategy to really, you know, prove to themselves that it's either a winning or losing strategy. And then they see something else on YouTube in the next week, and then they see it's, you know, some golden holy grail strategy. And then they decide to switch to that one, and it's just like a never-ending cycle. I am trading Apex EOD, yes. I've got Apex, I've got Take Profit Trader, Lucid, Tradeify, and FundedNext Futures. And I'm currently working on another one right now, which is Trade Day. So I'm trying to stack and scale as many as I can. I've got 40 accounts right now. Trade Day, unfortunately, only lets you they let you trade 6 evals, but you can only bring 3 to funded. So it's another 3 accounts, but I'll probably look somewhere else as well, because I want to add a little bit more. The gold movement, is that different for that of futures? I mean, gold is also pretty volatile. Like, the reason why I trade NASDAQ only is because NASDAQ, there's enough volatility in NASDAQ for anybody. You don't really need to trade anything else other than NASDAQ because the moves are so big, right? So like even just a small movement on NASDAQ, you just take that and if you can do that like pretty consistently without losing too much, you know, NASDAQ is enough. Same thing with gold. Gold is also like that. Gold is, you know, there's big volatility in gold. So if you just want to trade gold, if you're comfortable trading gold, there's gold futures, right? You could trade that in the futures market. So, and it's pretty much the same chart. So yeah, you could definitely trade gold as well. For copy trading, I use the Tradeovates, like the just the built-in trade copier that they have. I don't use any external ones. I don't try to trade all of my accounts together. You know, and I said this before, like I have 40 accounts, but I don't trade all 40 at once. Because if I did that, if I have one bad day, I wipe out my whole portfolio in one bad trade, one bad session, right? So you can't be trading, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So what I do is I group them separately into groups of 5, and I trade 5 accounts separately each day in different groups. Why are futures cheaper than CFDs? I don't know why exactly they're cheaper. The rules are definitely tighter in futures prop firms. So like a CFD prop firm, their payout rules are going to be a lot less lax. But for futures, there's, I mean, it depends on also the prop firm that you trade with. Like Apex has a whole slew of rules that you gotta, I mean, you gotta trade for 5 days. There's consistency rule. There's like, you gotta have $150 every single day for 5 days. I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of rules, right? And every firm has their different payout rules and how they have their limitations. But yeah, definitely futures prop firms are gonna have a lot more rules in terms of withdrawals. But there are ones that are like a lot easier. Like Take Profit Trader doesn't have any withdrawal rules other than just their normal eval rules. Minus the consistency rule, which is great, and you can withdraw on the first day. So there are futures firms out there that are very good with their withdrawals. It's just that, you know, you're limited to 5 in that case, and Apex has 20, right? So everything has their pros and cons. I won't get into to all of it there, but it's good to diversify, right? Also because, you know, you don't know when these things are going to go down. I've been saying that for a while now. Luckily they haven't. Like I haven't seen any good futures prop firms really go down. So far it's been pretty good. But yeah, you guys can decide, you know, which firm to go with. I would say, you know, the ones that I use are the ones I recommend, right? Tradeify, Take Profit Trader, Lucid, FundedNext, and Apex, right, are all pretty good. Just different nuances, different rules. Can you please explain your current strategy a little bit? Yeah, so in the description below, or in my other videos below, you'll see a checklist to download. It's a free checklist. You download, you see how we take our trades. There's a video that goes with it, and you'll be able to follow the rules of the checklist and see how we take our setups, right? But these lives, basically, I trade that checklist setup, and you'll see me explain the setup and how I look for it and what I, you know, use for confirmations and things like that. But we follow those 5 steps. If those 5 steps are there, we wait for entry confirmation on the 1 minute time frame, and then we take our setup. Jeff, you should do a video on all the different props and which one and why you purchased a certain one. Okay, that might be like a series of videos. But yeah, I could do a video on each one of those prop firms and pros and cons and benefits and things like that. I haven't put out an actual video on my channel in a while, and so I would appreciate some ideas. So that's a good one. Other than these live sessions, I haven't really put out a video in a while, so definitely time to put one out. Yeah, but for anyone that doesn't have the checklist already, either it's in the description or it's in one of the older videos. Just check the live session videos and just check the comments. It's going to be in there or in the description. Download the free checklist. Make sure you guys have it. You follow along with us when we take the setups and what we look for. So you guys can follow along. Roadmap for the rest of the year. Video to manage expectations. Okay. Yeah, we're already, it's already June, right? It's already like halfway through the year. So summer's coming up where, historically lower volume sets in and we usually take a break in the summer. So, gear up for the fall and things like that. Things will widen down probably in the next month or two. I do have a Telegram channel, and I did just post the link in there like 20 minutes ago. My Telegram channel is, I don't know, I don't keep that really active as much, but I do post the live sessions in there, and I do post occasionally some things in there. So yes, you can also message me on Telegram, although I do prefer Discord now. That should be the link. If it's not, it takes you somewhere else, let me know. I'll find the actual link, because I think that's the link, but I could be wrong. All right, coming up on 10 o'clock here, and we've already hit our upper target, which was that imbalance up there, and we can see that we have a nice big reaction from that level. Our little trade here would have worked out swimmingly if we had gotten that tick on the 50 there. Unfortunately, trade went without us. Okay, so that was the link, right? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't really keep it, I don't really post much in there. I'm trying to do a lot more with my social media stuff and try to keep on top of it, but just life gets in the way sometimes, and it's, so you'll see more, you should see more activity from me, but I've been saying that forever, and it's hard to keep up with, with stuff sometimes. So that's what these live sessions are for, right? And why I switched over to doing YouTube live streams is just so I have something consistently out there on a pretty big channel that people can always find me on. Okay, so a pretty nice reaction at 800. We rolled down through 780 and 750 with some nice bearish momentum. Change of character line is going to be underneath all of these bearish or bullish candles here, back to 700. And 10 o'clock is at about a minute and a half away. And let's see, the 4 hour is going to close bullish. Looks like, yeah, I would still expect it to continue to go higher to run out these highs up here. So we're looking at 890 and the 31K as our upper targets. 4 hour close, which means that we may get a bigger retracement back into the 4 hour candle. And if we get a imbalance here, which is looking like what we will get, it's forming right here. So we'll see price back into this imbalance here and then pop back up. Okay, and this is the imbalance here. Maybe we'll stay above it before the candle closes. 30 seconds. Okay, so when this candle closes in 20 seconds, it's going to be bearish. We're going to get a 15-minute bearish bias direction, CRT direction. And then so what we want to see is we want to see price retrace back. Oh, it's going to hit that. But we'll see it retrace back. Oh, it closed it right before the close of the candle. All right, so we see retracement back. We'll want to see price give us a internal high to sweep, right? And then if we sweep that high and then we go lower, that's what we want to see. That would be the short setup. Okay, so there's the close, there's the candle, 4-hour closed bullish as well, but we had a very large kind of wick rejection. So yeah, now we want to see, and we did get that closure underneath there for the change of character. So we just want to see a little retracement here, maybe retest the 50, back to this OB, back to these 1-minute imbalances here. And we'd love to see some kind of swing high formation here that we sweep. Okay, if we can get this to close above the 700 here, that should be our swing low, and then we should see if this does make that swing high that we want. So, and even better if we close above 720. Very nice. All right, let's see if we get up here to this imbalance to 750. There's an imbalance here. There's an order block here, so I'm expecting some sort of retracement from this level. We get it. Look at that nice reaction. So 26 seconds. Let's see if we close away from it, and that'll be our swing high that we want to see a sweep from. If we can get that. Yep. I mean, I expect Monday to be consolidation always. I mean, I don't really expect Mondays to give me big moves anyway. So, you know, we'll see. But 750 here would be great. If we get this to close like this, like a smallish candle here like this, to form that swing high, that would be good. Actually, it looks like we're going straight up. So never mind. All right, let's see if we close above the bearish candle. $16 seconds. In futures, do you count the movements in pips like FX or not pips? Oh, okay, so in futures we trade contracts. Okay, so contracts are we trade points rather. Sorry, not contracts. But yeah, we trade contracts. In FX, you trade lot sizes, but in futures you trade contracts and points. So it's a little bit different. And then points are made up of ticks, and on NQ it's 4 ticks to every point. So I don't know if that's confusing or not, but that's the way it is. So for 1 point, like, so for a price to go from 756 to 757, it goes 756.25, 756.5, 756.75, and then 757. So there's 0.25, and it's 4 ticks to every point that happens for every point move. And then contracts, the way you calculate contracts is, we're on micro contracts. So you can see there's an M in front of the NQ. But if we were trading mini contracts, there'd be no M. You just trade NQ, and then the contract sizes would be worth 10 times more. So on micro contracts, every point, so every time price moves from, let's say, 750 to 751, if you're trading one micro contract, that's worth $2. If you're trading one mini contract without the M, that's worth $20. So it's a pretty big jump. So that's why we trade the micro. And that's why it's, the volatility on NQ, if you're trading mini contracts, if you're just trading NQ, you wipe out your account really easily, just trading one mini contract, because that's the lowest you can trade. So one micro contract with the MNQ, it's a lot more manageable, easier to manage your risk, and you can still make a lot of money just trading micro contracts. Marco Gomez, hello. Good to see you on the stream again. Where would I advise you to start learning futures? I mean, YouTube, there's no shortage of resources on YouTube. You find thousands and thousands of videos and thousands of hours you can waste on your life watching videos on YouTube. So you'll find lots and lots of videos on there, for sure. But the problem with YouTube is it's a wealth of information, and you can just get lost watching videos, right? So what I would, advise you to do is watch, a couple videos, see if you can find a strategy that makes sense to you, and then just try trading that strategy for an extended period of time, right? Don't keep switching to video, and different strategy. Look for a strategy that makes sense to you, that seems easy to understand, that you can apply to the charts right away, and back test or live test, and just stick with it for several months, right? Because most people won't do that. And even if you're losing throughout that period of time, right? That's data that you're collecting for yourself, right? And then you'll also figure out, if the strategy makes sense to you, if you're getting, winners and it's making sense to you, you'll understand, right? If it's for you or not. It's a good reaction from that level there. Yeah, backtesting, I mean, it's gonna validate the strategy, give you a little bit more confidence to trade it in live. The problem with backtesting is there's no way to simulate a real live environment on a backtesting platform, right? Because the candles move, 1 minute at a time. You can't simulate like this kind of movement on a backtest, right? Where the candles fluctuate up and down within the minute. It's impossible to do. There's no software that can do that. So with backtesting, a lot of overfitting happens, a lot of just fudging the rules and kind of making things work when they shouldn't work, right? That can happen for sure. But it's going to be a hell of a lot better than just winging it live, right? At least you have some basis and some foundation for the concepts and the strategy on a backtesting, session, to where you can at least figure out, does it make sense for me? Does this work? And can I apply it in a live setting? Yeah, I've got videos on my channel if you want to check out my videos, but like I said, on YouTube there's just so much information out there, and you'll never watch it all. It's just impossible, because there's a lot of new stuff coming out, and you know, more videos than you can ever consume in a lifetime. So it's very important not to, you know, hop around. What about macroeconomics on FX, interest rates and stuff? Do they affect futures also, and do you check them? Yeah, so for big news events, because when we're trading futures, we're really dealing with the U.S. market. So that's one pro, is that, you know, for FX you have to watch news for like the euro, for the pound, for like all these different countries, right? But for futures, you just care about USD, right? And that's really all you care about. So any news that's impacting US dollar, so that's going to be FOMC, NFP, and CPI, right? Those are the big ones. And that's pretty much it. And it's the same thing as, like, you know, if you were to trade FX as well, like you're obviously not trading through news, and prop firms will you know, will close your accounts if you're trading through news. Some of them don't, you know, they restrict news trading. So obviously you just don't trade through news. That's all. Wait till they're over and then trade the aftermath. I will stick with FX MindShift. Okay, I appreciate it. I'll try to put out more content. All right, so this is perfect. I like that we formed a high there. That's the high that we want to sweep now. If we come back for the sweep, and if we roll down here and make like a new lower low here, this will turn green as well, because right now as it is, this is not really a green swing high. And what's the difference between this green swing high and this swing high? It's that this high here obviously took out a previous level, right? So we've swept liquidity with this high. We haven't swept anything with this high. So when you're looking for internal sweeps, you're looking for liquidity sweeps, you want to be looking for these highs to sweep or these lows to sweep versus a low like this, which doesn't really do anything. Been following you since B2MM, but kind of got lost somewhere in 2023, and I'm just coming back. Well, welcome back, right? It's always, you know, it's never quitting and never giving up is always a good trait. And with FX, you know, the longer you're in the game doesn't always mean it's going to be better, right? But if you're always constantly, you know, improving just a little bit each day, it's hard to be bad at something if you've been at it for several years. So you get better and better with each year, hopefully improving. Nice reaction there. Want to jump the gun too soon here, but all right, it's possible that we don't get a setup today, all right, and don't be discouraged. Obviously, for those of you that have been on the stream several times already, you guys know the drill, right? We don't always get a setup. It's not always going to give us something to trade every day, and you don't want to force it if it's not there. So we want to make sure that everything is in alignment before we take the setup. So let's do a quick rundown of what we already have so far, right? So step one of our checklist is what? Higher time frame point of interest, right? We had a 15-minute imbalance that we traded into over here. Did we sweep liquidity? Yes, we did. Okay, we took out the swing high over to the left. I'm not going to drag it all the way over there, but we took out a swing high to the left over there, as well as several swings over here. We took out this consolidation in the open. Okay, do we have displacement and imbalance away from the level? We do have pretty good displacement away from the level. right? Do we have a change of character? Yes. Did we have divergence? We don't have divergence, but that's an optional step. Okay, so now all we need to do is we have to have the bias alignment in our favor. Right now we only have the 15-minute, but the thing is with these things, like, you know, intraday and watching for live price action as it's playing out, sometimes the alignment isn't going to align very closely, right, or right away. So before we had a 4-hour bullish alignment on the 10 o'clock, we're looking for bullish plays. So if we want to go back to 15-minute being bullish and waiting for a bullish setup, we have to wait for price to come down and sweep these lows. Okay, so that's probably the next logical setup right now, since we just got the 10-15 close, right, and now the 15-minute is also bullish. That's probably a play that I would like to play here instead of the short right now, is if we can get price to come down and sweep out one of these lows, right, preferably this one here, back to this 650, the one that we wanted to see sweep and hit, right? That would probably be a good setup to take, as we can come down here, sweep this level into this. Problem with that is this in the discount? Let's see, because we go back to the 15 and we take a look, and now that we've gotten that close here, we do have a swing high and that low. So let's see, where would our discount be? Discount would be right at that New York high, 665. Okay, so that works. And if we go a little bit lower down here, I mean, the problem with this low is that there's so many other lows like right near it that we could just, if we sweep this one, like, why wouldn't we just sweep this one as well, right? We may not, but I'm just saying, because of the proximity, it's very likely that if we sweep this, we also sweep this. So maybe I keep the low here, and then where's my 50% is right at that 50 marker, right, basically right back to this consolidation. Okay, so if I'm looking for a bullish setup, I want price to come back to the consolidation anyway. Okay, so I don't know whether it's going to hit the consolidation and the OB, like the top of the consolidation is going to be right here. So I can mark that level, and then the OB inside is, the lowest one is here. This entire down move is going to be these series of candles here, like this. So essentially what I want to see happen is I want to see price come back into the range, into this consolidation. I want to see a reaction here, and then I want to see it close back above the consolidation and back above that sweep that we did, right? And then we see price continue up from here to go up to the all-time highs, right? So as it is now, it's 10:15, right? So this is not a setup that I would expect to happen within our session time, right? It could happen. I'm just saying it's probably a lower probability chance. The setup that happened today was probably that 650 retest here, right, into the imbalance here. That was the move that I wanted to take. Just didn't get to our 50 level, right? So unfortunately we missed that, and that was looking like the move for today. So if we don't get another move, I'm fine with it. We'll just come back tomorrow and do the same thing, but we still got, you know, roughly half an hour to see if we can get something going here for the rest of this session. But it's chopping around right now. It's coming back into this consolidation and on the 1 minute, and it's not looking very clean. So probably just sit around some more. Did we get our sweep? We didn't get our internal sweep here either for the short, right? Didn't come back. This was a nice reaction. And we did close underneath here, so I would not expect it to come back to this here. But if we do get a sweep here, again, that might be something we can look at. Yeah, it's looking like a sideline day, but you know, like I said, it's 10:20, right? Sometimes we get a setup right at the end of the stream around 10:45. It happens, but you know, like I said, it's Monday. Price is already chopping, so I'm feeling like it's probably not going to be the case. So when we get, you know, reaction like this, we get a move away. It's chopping back and forth, right? We're seeing price move away from the level, not super aggressively, but you know, far like fast enough away where people are probably going to get interested in selling this short. So that creates liquidity above the highs, right? So people short selling this and front running this right now probably have their stop somewhere up here in these regions. And since we are still bullish and the uptrend is still bullish, right, they'll look to get liquidated once we hit discount levels and once we take liquidity below to then send price higher. So it's just a real, you know, it's a game of patience, right? Waiting for things to happen that you want to happen and not trying to get in on the noise here, right? Because you could get in on a short here right now, but really, like realistically, if you try to get in on a short here, you're putting your stop up above these highs, right? And the risk reward probably isn't as good as if we got, you know, like our sweep up here. Like say, for example, we got our sweep up here, our risk reward is going to be like, you know, 40 points, 30 points stop. Versus, you know, if we come down and take out this low here, we're looking at a, you know, 3-to-1 potentially, which is really good in terms of our setups. We really rarely get, you know, 3-to-1 opportunities like this. Ours is mostly, you know, 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 sometimes. So that would be a really good risk reward. But if you took one now down here, right, your stop is going to be like over 100 points, and your target down here, the first target is only 40 points, which is really bad risk reward. And if you wanted to go for 1-to-1, you got to go all the way down here now, which is, you know, it could happen, but we don't really know what happens after we take out a low on NQ. Sometimes we get a really strong pullback and we have to sit through drawdown before it comes back down again. So if this is consolidation, that's probably what's going to happen. We take out a low, we consolidate, right? Take out another low, consolidate, take out a low, right? And we just kind of sit in and chop in this range. So don't really want to get involved here. I would like to see, you know, the consolidation form, and then we break out of that range, and then we get the close back inside, right? So if we get that sweep of this level here, we get the closure back inside with like a strong move, right? And then we see a move back up inside the range. So I really need to see a consolidation form. I need to see a sweep of that consolidation, and then I need to see it come back into the range. So a lot of things need to happen before I like the setup. So that's why I'm saying that today might just be a day that we wait. Stream is bad today, keeps freezing. Anyone else having issues with the stream? You're talking about the Discord or the YouTube stream? Hopefully you guys are okay on the YouTube, and if anyone's having issues on the Discord stream, let me know. Okay, Tommy, it might just be your connection. Seems everyone else is okay. I'm not gonna say everyone else, but people have said. Anna says it's all good. Zane is good. Eve says it's good on YouTube. All right, so YouTube is fine. I'm not worried about YouTube. You guys are you guys are hunky dory. Anyone else on the Discord side? You guys having any issues with the stream quality? All right, Webster's okay. Caleb. Yeah. So Tommy, I'm thinking it's a you problem. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep. So it looks like a bunch of chop. We'll wait it out and we'll see if we get anything to break out clean. We've got a lot of highs now that we can come up and sweep. This is the highest, so I'd like to see that one taken out. But anything around this 750 area would be good. And we're coming up on 10:30 in just a couple of minutes here. 3 minutes or so. We'll see if we get another bullish close inside. So right now we have a sweep and we're going to close inside, right, as the candle stands now. But a lot can happen in 3 minutes. And let's just remind everyone what the 4 hour looks like in comparison to the lower time frames as well. Okay, so we had a bullish candle here on the 4 hour, right? We want to see price come back into that 4 hour candle, retrace into it, which we did, but didn't retrace that much. So we still could do a deeper retracement. I'd like the 50% retracement, right? If we get a sweep of a low, when we do that, these are 4 hour candles. So that means I need to wait for this candle to close, which means it'll be 2 o'clock, right? So it might be a afternoon session setup that we get in this case here for this to form, because what's going to happen is we have a closure here, a smallish closure here, right? And then 2 o'clock opens and we leave ourselves with this imbalance. So what we want is for price to open, trade lower, right? Sweep out the lows here, trade into the imbalance, into the 50% retracement, and then continue higher, right? So that may take the afternoon to do. So we may get an afternoon move like that, which happens occasionally. But that's kind of like a bigger, longer term perspective, right? And the immediate perspective right now is to see the 15-minute sweep this level here. We've already got retracement into the 50%. We swept the level, and now we're getting a breakout of this consolidation, or we get a breakout of the consolidation. So we get a breakout like this, right? We retest the breakout, and then we come up through to make those new all-time highs, or to run to the next POI, which is this 15-minute imbalance up here, and run out this high. Okay, either of those looks like it still needs to set up, right? You can see here we're still in this range, consolidation. Trading is a game of patience, right? If you're not able to wait for your conditions to line up, right, and if you're just trying to, like, you know, sneak in a trade here and there, more often than not, you'll just chop up your account and blow it. So on these streams here, I try to be as meticulous as possible about waiting for the right things to line up before I take the entries, right? To try to instill that kind of discipline in you guys if you don't have it. Some of you do, some of you don't. Maybe some of you get a little bit more impatient, a little trigger happy. But you know, the more you see it, hopefully the more it keeps you grounded. Because like I said, the only way you're really going to blow your accounts is with doing one of those things, right? Either over leveraging, over trading, or just in general not following your rules. It's never really technicals or the strategy, right? Every strategy will work. It's just, are you able to implement the strategy following the rules, you know, all the way through every single day? Can you do that? If you can, then you'll probably see a much more consistent streak than you are now if you're just, you know, occasionally breaking your rules. That's a good sweep here. So we want to see that sweep, and then we want to see a closure back below, which looks like we're getting here. Problem is that we're all bullish right now, and we really needed this to be in bearish alignment. This would be a good setup now if we were seeing bearish, but we don't. So right now we get a sweep of this internal high, right? We have a high to low that did not break any kind of structure. We did get a change of character, so that is something. A 1 minute change of character here. That's not a lot to go on. Traded into the range here in the discount and pop back up, right? So right now we could be seeing a sweep of a high. The way we would confirm this sweep is if we were to get another change of character, so another run through like this low here. So back below 700 from this sweep, and then we would take the follow-up retracement from that. So if it comes down here and gives us this break, right, we would take the follow-up retracement from that here into whatever point of interest forms into this level, right, and then we'd look for the move down. All right, 10:30 candle has closed. Bullish. We did the sweep below here. We got change of character here. We got divergence here, right? So this bearish sweep that we're seeing right now is likely a false signal. So if we're going to go bullish from here, we want to see come down and see price sweep out, like I said, one of these levels. So original idea is still intact, right? We just want to see this come down, take out this level here, and then come up, take out this high. Right, that's likely going to be our afternoon setup if we get it. And the way that invalidates is if we see price come all the way back down and take out this whole up move, and then that would be the big manipulation and the move down, setting us up for the rest of the week potentially. All right, so let me kind of like map this out here for the rest of the week, because this is really, like I said, it's Monday, right? It's the very first day. Okay, so if we, yes, we did get a sweep of the internal high there, right? But as I was saying, it's, I mean, it's a sweep, but it's not really anything just yet, because our alignments are all still bullish, right? 15 minutes still bullish, 4 hours still bullish. So this is really only just like a little pullback, right? If it was bearish, then yeah, we would be looking at this as a setup right now, right? But we're still currently very bullish. So you can see that we've already traded into the imbalance here. We've already made the move back up. Okay, that was the order flows respecting bullish points of interest. So now if we want to see this continue to be bullish here, you know, we look for price to come back and sweep one of these lows here, or maybe come back to the original consolidation like we wanted, and then give us that move up. And that'll be an afternoon setup. Right now it's not going to be a setup that we get right now, I don't think. But this will be what we look for. Right now, if this fails, okay, and you see that price does this, at the end of the day, we close back through this whole up move that we made in this New York session here, then that's going to be the New York session manipulation. So today, you can assume that this is the manipulation today. We've got the change of character, so the rest of the week, we're going to expect this, right, or something like to this effect, right, and then FOMC is somewhere in here, obviously. Okay, But this is just kind of like a preemptive, you know, kind of plan for the week. If that's were to happen, we expect this to be the manipulation. And of course, tomorrow we could do something else that would negate that, of course. But just taking it as terms of like what the structure looks like right now, that would be what would be required for like a big reversal. Right? Otherwise, you can see that structure is bullish. We're respecting it, right? We're going to assume high and low here. It's going to respect the 50% range. The discount levels that we're looking for price to come back to are here. Okay, order block, mitigation, imbalances, right? We want to see price react to this level, create another higher low as it has been doing. Right? And then continue higher. Right? Take a moment always to kind of, you know, zoom back out to the 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, whatever, just to get perspective. Because if you spend too much time on the 1 minute, you start to get lost in the 1 minute nuances, right? And you start to see things that are not there. So be very mindful of that. Always try to keep yourself in perspective of the 15-minute when you're on the 1 minute. But whatever your time frame is that you're trading for your entries, right? Since I trade the 1 minute, my higher time frame alignment for that is going to be the 15-minute, right? If you're taking entries on the 5 minute, then your alignment will probably be on like the 30-minute or the 1 hour, right? And if you're taking 15-minute entries, then your alignment is going to be on the 4 hour. All right, keep yourself in perspective. Make sure that you're aligned with the higher time frame to your lower time frame to make sure you're not going against the grain. All right, that looks like a good reaction. From the sweep here at 765 to where we are right now, it's about 30-point move. So I don't see a whole lot of, you know, displacement, right? We don't see a whole lot of activity or strength from these bearish moves, which is why everything is still bullish. So looking for the buy, looking for a reason to buy is going to be much better than looking for these shorts and these reversals up here, because it does not look very convincing. If we were to take this and give us like a big imbalance, right? We inverted this and then we came back into the imbalance and then we had a rejection off of it, I'd be much more inclined to take something like that, not something that looks like this where we're still kind of chopping around and not really doing much. So again, Monday chop, Monday consolidation. I think the setup here that we missed was the opportunity today. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a setup. But watch for what I said going into the afternoon session, right? Going into, you know, past 11 and into lunch hour. And we'll see if we get something to make sense after the day's end. And we'll come back tomorrow. All right. Any questions, guys, before we call it? Appreciate everyone on the stream today, especially you guys on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, just, you know, throw them in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer them if I can. And just to reiterate again, for those of you that are new or just joining us, download that checklist in the description or in the comments. Make sure that you guys are following along with our setups.
Hey Jeff, could you go with that 15-minute again for the afternoon?
Yeah, so 15-minute chart right now looks very bullish, right? So you can see that we have consolidation, right? A breakout of the consolidation, and then we have this imbalance that we reacted to and traded above, right? So if we're going to continue higher from here and from this 15-minute range, then right now this reaction that we're getting, this retracement, should come back down and sweep some sort of internal liquidity, which would be this low right here right now, and then come back into a point of interest, which in this case would be our mitigation, or this consolidation, which would be one of our OBs here. So we want to see price come back into this range here, but then we want to see a reaction back up, right, from one of these points of interest to close back above the level here, right? Specifically closing back above this low. And we might have a new low by that time, but right now this low is what I'm looking at. So reaction to this level here, a close above this low here, and then from there, the bullish move would be for price to come back into this range, right? Respect this low, and then the bullish setup would be to do this. Okay, that's the bullish setup. If we're going to go bearish, right, then what this is going to do is we're going to come all the way back down. Why can't I delete this thing? All right, we're going to come all the way back down here, right? So this will do something, but it won't hold, right? Or maybe it doesn't do anything at all. Maybe we go straight through it. But regardless, whatever the case, we're going to go back through this level, right? So we close back underneath here. This will give us a change of character, right? And then I'll assume that this whole thing that we did today here, Monday, was just a big old New York session manipulation, and we'll expect price to continue lower for the rest of the week, whatever that may be, right? And of course, we got FOMC on Wednesday, and tomorrow, you know, we'll see if that does happen, but it really depends on how we close the day today, right? So how we finish up the day here, what Monday looks like going into Tuesday. Make sense?
Oh, thank you.
All right. Awesome. Anyone else? Fantastic. All right. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or thinking of anything afterwards. You can drop them in the comments. But yeah, otherwise, have a great rest of the day. Good luck with the trades if you do take them. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.